Episode number 135.
Hello, you're listening to the Career Changemaker podcast. Having the courage to leave a career that you have worked hard to build and try something else can be tough. So in each episode, we dive into key career change strategies so that you have a clear understanding of what is required to transition into a new role or a new industry without feeling like you have to start at the bottom or have to take a massive pay cut, because #ain't nobody got time for that. If you are ready for frank and honest discussions about how to become a career change maker, keep listening. I'm your host, lawyer turned career strategist and executive coach, Janine Esbrand. What I want to talk to you about is guilt. So I was speaking to a client a little while ago who was saying, right, I'm ready. I think I want to make a career move. She's an accountant. She was saying that she's not happy in the role that she was in. She's been working for the company for a lot of years, I think around 15 years, and she was no longer happy in what she was doing. And when I started asking her, why is it that you haven't taken any action to make a career change so far, she was sharing that ultimately she was able to negotiate a flexible working pattern, that she'd been working for the company for some time, and that she really felt guilty about wanting to make a move because from the outside looking in, everything was great. She had a high-paying job, she had a good position, she had flexibility. So why was it that she wasn't feeling satisfied? And because she was questioning why she wasn't feeling satisfied, she started to feel guilty about it. When she was looking around and understanding that there are lots of people that would kill to be in her position, there are lots of people that would appreciate the type of flexibility she had or the type of role that she had. So she felt bad for wanting something different. And I want to talk about this because it comes up time and time again. The clients that I work with tend to be high-achieving women who have worked really hard to get to where it is in their career. We're talking lawyers, accountants, finance professionals, people from various different backgrounds, but people who have spent a lot of time getting to where it is that they are in their careers. So when they get to a point where they feel like this isn't right, or I don't feel fulfilled, or I no longer feel like I'm making the impact that I want to make, then they start to feel bad for even wanting to consider something different. So what I want to talk to you about today is how you can overcome some of those thoughts. If this is you, if you have been feeling guilty, but you know you want to make a change, then I want to talk to you about how you can be thinking about things differently. So let me talk to you about what I shared with my client and what I have actually learned recently around this. I went to a conference and it was really, really impactful. And the way that it was explained made me think, do you know what? This is another dimension to how I was breaking it down to my clients. So I want to talk to you about that. When it comes to where you're at in your career and that feeling of, I want to make a move, I want to do something different. When you're looking at that and you're saying, oh, I shouldn't be feeling this way, I should be happy with where I am. One of the things that you might be overlooking is the fact that everyone is different when it comes to their level of motivation and their level of drive and ambition when it comes to their career. So you can speak to one person who has been in the same position within the same organization for many, many years, and they are 100% happy. They're happy, they're fulfilled in the work that they're doing. They show up to work every day, they do what it is they have to do, and then they leave. There are people who fall into that category. So in terms of ambition, they're not striving to get anywhere in particular because they're happy where it is that they are, and they just do the same thing day in, day out, and that's cool with them, and that is absolutely fine. Then there are other people who are super, super ambitious, who have really big dreams, really big goals, and they are committed to driving forward towards those goals. And if you are someone who has worked really hard to get to where it is in your career, if you've studied really hard, if you've had to jump through lots of hoops to get to the stage that you're at, then it's likely that you fall into the category of person who is really driven and really ambitious. And so if you have that desire, if you have the desire to work hard and get to a certain level, it's unlikely that desire is going to leave. So sometimes you might think that when I set my initial goal and I reach that goal, then I will be happy. And so like for me, when I said, okay, I want to be a lawyer, I qualified as a lawyer. And then the next goal is, I want to work towards becoming a partner. Because you have that drive and because you have that ambition, you're not the type of person who just wants to settle for just showing up and just doing the status quo. You're the type of person who wants to strive and become the best that you can be in the role that you're in, or the best that you can be generally. And that is fantastic. That is great. But the problem with that is often in your circle, so perhaps within your family or your friendship circles, you might be the only person who's like that, or one of the few people who are like that. So you might be the only person who is striving. You might be the only person who is really saying, no, this isn't good enough, I have to keep going. You might be that person who is the black sheep of the family, where everyone else isn't really doing the type of things that you are achieving in your career. And so sometimes the way that people react to you because of your achievements means that instead of you continuing to strive and shine and just do what it is that you know you're able to do, you might find yourself shrinking a little bit, right? So if you've experienced, being really proud of your accomplishments and just going for things and really getting them, and then other people saying things like, oh, you would get that, wouldn't you? Because good things always happen to you. Or, it's not good to shout about your accomplishments because that's a bit boasty. Or you make other people feel bad when you shine too brightly. Like you feel, maybe you have siblings who haven't achieved as much as you. And then so you don't really want to be shouting about your achievements because other people might feel bad. So those types of things that might happen, and that type of messaging that may well happen when you're a lot younger, can really stick with you. So where you might have been really excited before that, I'm good at this and I'm really striving towards this, as you have reactions from certain people, that might make you feel, oh, do you know what? I shouldn't really be shouting about what it is that I'm doing. I shouldn't really be pushing so hard because I don't want other people to feel bad. I don't want to be that person who makes other people feel inferior or whatever it is. And so what can end up happening is where you may have had all of this ambition and drive before, and you're operating at like 100% where you're just really driving forward, you start to shrink back and start to operate at like 80% or 60%. And what I mean by that is you could be doing more. You could be striving more. You could be pushing yourself more. But actually, where you've managed to get to now is a stage where, you're doing really well and you don't really have to try so hard to do it. So you're doing really well, you don't have to try really hard, or you've done really well and then you just don't want to toot your own horn. You don't want to come across as arrogant. You don't want to come across as OTT. And so you don't continue to push. And the reason why I'm sharing this is because when you think about that, if you are the type of person who is normally like, you're the A student, you're the one who can just get it done. You're the one who picks things up really quickly. You're the one who everyone wants to go to for advice. If you're that person and then you get to the place where from the outside looking in, everyone is saying like, you've got it all together. You've got it all together. You've achieved so much. You've done so much. But then you are then saying, oh no, but I don't really want this anymore. That's part of the reason why you feel so guilty, because it's like everyone's put me on a pedestal. Everyone's looking up to me because I'm the person who always does the right thing or always does things well. But then, I'm going to step away and say, oh no, I don't want this anymore. So that element of, I guess you could say shame of like, I'm that person can really spill over. And then you can start to feel like, I shouldn't. I should just be satisfied with where I am because I have achieved so much. And why would I then rock the boat? And so I want you to really take some time to think about, where are these feelings of guilt coming from? Is it that it's coming because I know what other people are going to think or other people are going to say? Where is it actually coming from? Because often if it's coming from a place of what other people will think, it can really hold you back. It can really hold you back from doing the things that you want to do. And the other thing that I wanted to mention is that there are things that only you can achieve given your unique blend of strengths, expertise, experience. So when you are shying away and saying, okay, I'm just going to stay where I am, I'm not going to go forward and find the thing that I know is really going to be fulfilling or move into the type of role that is more aligned to me as a person, then that means you're not fully showing up in your brilliance and not fully bringing all that you can bring to the table in another area. And so in terms of impact, the world, the industry, or wherever it is you might go is missing out because you are not willing to step up and show up in a different capacity because you're fearful of what other people will say. Like I was sitting in on a talk and I was just listening to him talk about his journey, and his contribution to his industry has been immense. Like it has been game changing. He's made such an impact over the course of his career. And when he was asked about why it was that he got into what he was doing, he talked about the passion and where it came from. And he was committed and dedicated because he really wanted to do what he was doing. And because he enjoyed what he was doing, because he really believed in what he does, because he can see the impact of the work that he's doing, it means that he's been able to, just reach his potential and do so much in that space. But if he wasn't enjoying what he was doing, if he wasn't feeling the way that he felt about the mission and what it is that he is really pushing in the industry, then the impact that he has made would not have been as great. And I share that with you because there is impact that you could be making in a different industry or in a different space that you are not, because you are holding yourself back from really overcoming that feeling of guilt and going for what it is that you want. Because the reality is, if you are feeling like there must be more to life than this, if you are feeling like you're not fully giving all that you can be giving, if you're feeling like you're not operating at the top of your game, that feeling isn't necessarily going to go away because you decide to settle. Because you decide to settle because you don't want to push forward, that feeling isn't necessarily going to go away. So what's going to end up happening is either you feel resentful, right? You feel resentful that like, oh, I'm just doing this work and it's so frustrating and this environment is so frustrating. Or you end up feeling regretful later on, like years to come, you look back and you say, do you know what? I really wish I would have. I really wish I would have tried. I really wish I would have seen if I would have been able to uncover what the thing is that I would really want to do. And I feel like the worst thing to have is regret, to look back and say, I shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? Rather than trying something, putting your foot forward and seeing what fits and seeing whether or not you can find that thing that really does fulfill you. That's a much better option, because you can try and know that you tried and be like, okay, well, like I did what I needed to do. I did what I needed to do to figure out where it is I need to be. Or you can just decide and make a decision that, you know what, I've come too far. I've been doing this for so long, so I'm just going to stay where I am. And the reality is there's no reason why, even if you have a whole body of work in a particular space, industry, you've been working in a certain way, that doesn't mean that's where you have to stay if you're not finding that is fulfilling, or if you're not finding that it is the place where you're able to make the most impact. Okay, so when it comes down to how do I overcome that feeling of guilt, really look at, where does that guilt come from? Why am I feeling guilty about this? Where is should coming from? I should be satisfied. I should be okay with this. I feel bad for leaving this particular role. Where is it coming from? Because all of your experience, everything that you've gained, everything that you've done over time is not wasted. You get to use that and you get to leverage that going forward. So don't feel like, I've spent all of this time and I'm going to have to start at the bottom. Not necessarily. Likely not, because you can use all that you have developed, all of the skills, expertise, knowledge that you have developed over the years, and you can redirect it and use it in another way that allows you to be super impactful. So if you are someone who, is that high achieving person who is always top of the game and just pushing, just know that skill, those qualities, what you have is valuable. Who you are is valuable. And so use it, leverage it, as opposed to shying away from the fact that, you're able to do all these things and you should be feeling satisfied. No, it's like, okay, I'm not feeling satisfied and I know that there's more for me to do. And so I need to take some time to figure out what that is. So that's my encouragement to you. Keep pushing forward. Don't let go of that desire to do bigger things if you feel like you're not being fully utilized where you are, or you feel like you're undervalued, or that you're not really showing up in a way where you could be adding so much more. Use that to fuel you to figure out what the next step is. And if you're thinking, well, I have no idea, I've been doing this for so long, I've been working in this industry as a lawyer, as an accountant, as a finance professional, as a marketing executive, whatever it is, I've been doing this for so long and I just don't know what else I would do, then just because you don't know what else you would do right now doesn't mean you can't figure it out. It just means you need a process to follow. You need a framework in order for you to put the right efforts and energies in the right place so you can figure out what it is you should be doing.
Are you eager to get unstuck and figure out what you would actually like to do with your career next? Have you been going around in circles trying to figure it out but getting no further forward? If so, you're going to love today's sponsor, my signature group program, the Career Clarity Academy. Changing career direction can feel overwhelming and daunting, but it doesn't have to be. In my signature program, we give you clear, step-by-step, proven processes for getting completely clear on what it is that you want to do and understanding how you can leverage your existing experience and position yourself to attract and land a dream role. To find out more, head over to lightboxcoaching.com/academy. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Career Changemaker podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, I would love for you to let me know what your biggest takeaway has been. So head over to Instagram, tag me at Career Changemaker, and let me know your thoughts. What did you like most about today's episode? I look forward to hearing from you. Until next time, keep working towards your career goals, and we will speak very, very soon.